So this morning we are joined by producer, songwriter and composer Apiwe Bubu. He has developed a unique, deeply rooted and contemporary sound. This comes after studying with Andile Yenana for 4 years, working extensively across the continent and also abroad. And he's finally released his debut solo album, Reflections of Sound Mind. It's an 8-track collection of piano compositions that has been 2 decades in the making. And so he's going to join us this morning to chat about that journey. Apiwe, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I mean, I must reference the fact that you were working last night and it was into the late night and now you're here. So respect for that. Thank you for your time.
No, it's a pleasure.
Okay, 20 years in the making. Now you've got a debut album. But before we get there, you are synonymous for or renowned for making work for other people.
Yes.
You've now decided to focus on yourself. Tell us about that journey, how you've gotten to this point.
It took a minute. I was always focused on other people's, journey and making sure they had the music they needed. They came to me as a producer, as an engineer, to help them, create the sound that they wanted, the ideas that they were trying to work on. I liked to be in the background for the most part. So now being in the spotlight, which is like I've been low-key avoiding for the years that I've been working on other people's stuff.
So what made you ready, and did you think you garnered enough from everyone you worked with? I mean, I mentioned you've worked with people abroad, you've worked with people across the continent, LA, etc. So I mean, this is obviously added to your rich experience, but what was the tipping point for you?
I think, you never know when you're ready. You just go with the flow, you feel it, and it comes like naturally, because the way the album happened was that a close friend just said, I know the side of you that other people don't know. They know you as the engineer, the producer, the DJ. What about the piano? And I said, yeah, I know I do that for myself. And it's like, no, let's just record an album and see what happens.
And then you go into studio and you face 10 hours and you record everything. I don't know if is that normal?
To me, it wasn't abnormal. And so when I said it, I was saying it to someone and they were shocked at that because they were like, oh no, that's something. And I said, no, that was just a normal day in the studio, because I'll spend time like 12, 15 hours in the studio working.
Okay.
So for me to sit there for 10 hours and do an album was just another session or another studio day. And
then you call it with Reflections of a Sound Mind. So, I mean, you have to explain what that means, because it sounds like you're in a different stratosphere to bring us this. Yeah,
I thought about it and I was like, I'd spent so many months being home this time around, because I'm always in and out. In the 12 years I've been gone, I've been coming in for like a month, go back, come in every 2 years. And this time I stayed for more than that. And I was finally tapping into South Africa and feeling the vibe that's going on now, after a decade. And I was like reflecting on a lot of things. And so I think it came out in the album.
I mean, is it hopeful? Is it painful? What were you reflecting? What was evoked? What is coming through?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's
a lot.
It's a lot. South Africa is, it's a special country, special place, special energy. And so I went through all the waves, and it was very dynamic. So I tried to reflect that in the music.
If you're looking at talent from South Africa, being part of that global conversation and asserting our identity as well, who's standing out for you at this point? Who are you looking forward to collaborating as well, if that's going to be a possibility?
Absolutely.
Now that you've debuted.
Now that I've put it out there.
Exactly.
It's like, can I get back to what I normally do? But it's fine. I'm looking and I'm listening to all the artists, the fresh young talent that's happening now, setting up some label stuff so that, I can develop young artists through the label and distribute the music and find the gems that are here in South Africa. And so, that's definitely on the table.
And Apiwe, it's so important because you've obviously worked with so many greats. I mean, on Lemonade, that was Beyonce's critically acclaimed album. You worked with Tony Maserati, and so it's important to give back. But if you reflect on that experience, what did that do for you? And then when you're imparting this to the new crop and perhaps also helping them, what are you going to be imparting on that front?
I think, having had the opportunity to do all of that and all that work and being in those rooms and seeing the work ethic that went into making that album.
Sure.
I want people to understand, especially the young kids who are coming up and want to do stuff that's, that's memorable like that, is to always say, guys, you've got to stay the course when you're working on stuff, and the work ethic is important, and persistency.
What was the most challenging part about I mean, if you're saying you recorded in 8 hours, eight album track in 10 hours, what was the most challenging part over the past 20 years for you then, leading up to this moment?
Most challenging, I think it's, I think for me, the one thing I did do, as much as it was always challenging, I can't really identify a specific challenge, but what I do know is every time there was a challenge, I just knew there's one thing I shouldn't do was give up.
Okay.
So I just stayed the course.
Man, a few words. You channel it through your music as well. But how did this help to heal you as well? Reflections of a Sound Mind. I mean, I'm looking at the play on words, mind. You know, there's a lot that's happening mentally, conscious-wise as well. So whilst we celebrate how we're evolving as humanity, there's a lot that's also holding us back.
So that's very true. And Reflections of a Sound Mind is almost like a triple entendre, right?
Sure.
Because I'm reflecting on a sound mind, which would be meaning someone who has a stable mind. And then at the same time, I'm a sound engineer, a music person, so that's a sound person, sound mind. And then also, I think the healing comes from sound, right? When the earth and God created and everything, the universe, there's first sound. And so in everything we do, sound changes the energy.
Wow. Yeah, and it's got different frequencies. And so is this an album to heal people? Is this an album to remind them of love?
This is an album definitely to heal people, remind them of love, remind them of, you know, the preciousness of existence. And so when you listen to the album, you in every song, you'll find a moment that reflects much of the human experience.
And so speaking of that, who did you end up working with on this? Who are some of those people that would have contributed to your journey for your debut? For
the debut album, you know, it's a solo piano album. So it was.
You just did everything from start to finish. Oh my gosh.
I did have a friend, JT, who did the engineering and helped on the production, and so we did it together. And it was just the two of us in the room, me on the piano, him on the sound, and we did that. We did it in the 10 hours that we worked on. Okay, so how do we stay in touch with you? Where do we find information? How do we access the album as well? The album is on all platforms: Spotify, Apple, streaming, YouTube, soon a vinyl, and then I will be at the African Freedom Station on the 24th of September, Heritage Day. So I love that African Freedom Station. It's in Sophia Town on the 24th September, and then Cape Town, November 14th, the Commons. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. It's not goodbye. I know that you're performing in just a moment, so looking forward to that. But producer, songwriter, composer Apiwe Bubu chatting about his debut album, Reflections of a Sound Mind. We'll leave the conversation there, but stay tuned, of course, for that much awaited performance after this. We'll be right back.